we were able to bring that close rate much higher. I think we saw close to an 8x return on ad spend over the time that we worked together, which was amazing. I felt like I was throwing money into a endless well before, but working with you, we saw the results that we were looking for.
Dom, what's going on? I'm actually going to let you take it away. Would you mind just sharing who you are and what you do?
Yeah, definitely. I'm so happy to be here. My name's Dominic. I'm an AI architect at a company called Synaptic Advisors. I build AI systems. I have a long track record of building a consultancy in the Salesforce ecosystem, and I'm happy to have had Oliver's help in that process. And yeah, definitely excited to answer any questions.
Yeah, sweet. No, Dominic, I appreciate you taking the time and kind of want to rewind the clock a little bit. Our partnership stemmed from your old company, Salesforce or Salescraft, before you went through a bit of a transition. Would you mind just talking about how our partnership started?
Yeah, definitely. I think I found your services online. I was looking to increase my inbound flow of leads, as well as build out specialized outbound marketing channels. And your help was instrumental for building out a bigger client list that enabled me to get to where I am today.
Yeah, sweet. No, it was super exciting when we found each other. Would you mind just kind of recapping what you guys did over at Salescraft as well?
Yeah, definitely. Salescraft provided specialized development solutions for anyone who needed work done in Salesforce. We could provide full implementation services, cleanups, migrations, as well as the design, development, and delivery of specialized components. We, in our later years, specialized in AI implementations. We won some pretty prestigious awards on the Salesforce circuit in terms of World Tour hackathons, the Dreamforce hackathon, because of our initiative in learning AI and how to build AI systems from the get-go. I remember like the day ChatGPT came out, for example, I was already like exploring their API docs, and that kind of set us up for success as we also started building out some internal technology that we have been productizing and providing to our clients. And yeah.
Yeah, nice. No, super unique project, and obviously, I think we caught the market at the right time as well. Because what we did for people that don't know, and Dom will obviously dive into this, built out a full client acquisition for you. So it was the ads, the landing pages, the pre-call nurture flows, the VSL, kind of everything in between to really ramp up that inbound. And of course, there was a few changes throughout. We worked together for 6 months, but once we got started, would you mind breaking down like how quickly you kind of saw a ramp up in marketing?
It was fast. It was fast and it was effective. Having the intelligence to build these kinds of systems tailored to our business allowed us to get our message out a lot clearer, and also handle those inbound leads and give us a really good user base for just deciding like which feature sets are going to be most important for our internal product builds, as well as helping us understand the landscape. Overall, the impact was immediate and quick working with you and your team.
Awesome. And would you mind digging into that a little bit more? Because a lot of agencies in the space, right? They'll come in, they'll run your ads, and then kind of whatever happens after that, they don't really care. I think our relationship, I'd love for you to share it as well. I think our relationship took that a layer deeper in terms of actually coming in and being a growth partner for your business.
Yes,
Would you mind
definitely.
shedding some light on that as well?
I think it was even part of our initial contract where there were contingencies within how we decided to approach our relationship that made both of our companies have a stake in the success of the project that we're building. And that's super important for any partner that I work with, even today, to make sure that, our incentives are aligned and that we're going to be working together for not just for the project implementation, but for the success of the project overall. And that was kind of baked in, and not only into the actual formalization of how we work together, but just working with you in general, Oliver. I feel that you care about our business, cared about my business, I should say. But I love the initiative that you showed in showing an interest in making sure that this was successful for both parties.
And in that relationship, what were some of the biggest wins we experienced, would you say?
I think some of the biggest wins were when you brought your knowledge into what works, and then formalizing that into structured systems that we can then iterate on and understand success metrics, and really hone in on what works and what doesn't. I think that the education that we received from your expertise was instrumental in closing that sales cycle, making it shorter, and bringing that rate up.
Yeah. And I think that was a big thing, especially just because of the way you guys approach the market, very kind of custom builds. I think from what I recall, obviously, for the people that don't know, Dominic and I worked together several months ago. And then obviously there was a transition process to essentially being absorbed. So we won't go into too much of the numbers and stuff around that, given the circumstances. But looking back from what you can recall, what happened to you, like your sales cycle and your close rates once we got the system fully up and running?
Close rates went up. I don't actually have the exact number per se, but with your help and like understanding exactly each prospect that came through the process that we set up, we were able to bring that close rate much higher. I think we saw close to an 8x return on ad spend over the time that we worked together, which was amazing. I felt like I was throwing money into a endless well before, but working with you, we saw the results that we were looking for.
Yeah, and it was big returns, and I think that was something that kind of sets you up to move on to the next step with the business. Would you say so?
That's correct, yeah. The additional client base that we received allowed us to have the standing and experience that we needed in order to be able to be approached by larger consultancies that, enabled my transition to where we are now.
Hmm. Perfect. No, I love to hear it. And yeah, I think we don't have to dwell too much on the past, Dominic. I think we're both excited for where you guys are at now. But over the overview of kind of the partnership, if somebody else is evaluating whether it be working with Ascension or just launching their own ad system, what would you say? What sort of recommendations would you give them?
Well, I would say, first of all, bringing in an intelligent, experienced partner for this specific process is paramount. Choosing the right partner is key, and that really comes down to what we just talked about, which is making sure our incentives are aligned and that both parties have a stake in the work, and that there's a good relationship that allows for you to work together to be able to hone what is a fairly complicated process. I never really liked marketing. I never really liked sales, but working with Ascension, it made it a lot easier to be able to achieve the goals that we had in those departments.
Hmm. Awesome. Yeah, felt like I was your right hand man for a little bit as we were growing because you're not the first partner we've worked with where they're very focused on the technical side of the business, right? Being a tech founder, we come in and kind of gave that support, or at least I like to think. So I think we had a very good 1-2 punch there as our relationship scaled. And Dom, is there any other questions that I might not have asked or thoughts that you'd like to leave everybody with?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'll just say that, Ascension's a great company to work with, especially if you have these needs specifically in growing your outbound sales channels and formalizing your marketing structure for how you're handling new inbound leads. Oliver's great, and yeah, I don't think there's anything else.
No, that's perfect. Well, Dom, I appreciate you taking the time coming on, sharing your insights, and obviously super happy for where you've taken the business.
Of course, yeah. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you.